Folks, it's your boy, the Insurance Junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star advisor Alonzo Hall, your social media insurance bro. Back again today to weapon tap on your head with another ADH Wealth Solution article. Today's article is from Newsweek, published May 25th, 2025, entitled "A Map Shows Inheritance Tax Rates Across the U.S." As usual, I will stop and give a little personal commentary throughout. Ladies and gentlemen, before I continue, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. So inheritance and estate taxes, often referred to as death taxes, vary significantly across the United States. Federal estate taxes apply only to the wealthy, with estates exceeding $13.61 million in 2024, and most states do not impose either tax, so unless you're reading this from your inherited mega mansion, you don't need to worry too much. However, several states impose their own taxes, affecting estates and beneficiaries, and often at much lower thresholds. States with inheritance taxes. Estate inheritance tax is levied on the individuals who receive assets from a deceased person's estate. Only 6 states levy inheritance taxes. Pennsylvania, rates range from 4.5% for direct descendants to 15% for non-relatives. Children over 21 are taxed at 4.5%, siblings at 12%, and others at 15%. Maryland, a 10% inheritance tax applies to certain heirs, including domestic partners, unless they inherit a jointly owned primary residence. Spouses, children, parents, grandparents, and siblings are exempt. New Jersey, inheritance tax rates range from 11% to 16%, depending on the beneficiary's relationship to the deceased. Kentucky, rates vary between 4% and 16% based on the beneficiary's class. Nebraska, inheritance tax rates range from 1% to 18%, with closer relatives paying lower rates. So, ladies and gentlemen, what this is telling you is states can impose their own what would be called death taxes, or not death taxes, but inheritance taxes. Death taxes is a different thing. But they can impose inheritance taxes on amounts as little as $1,000 of net worth, right? And they can charge, for example, if you're in Nebraska, up to 18%. So these are other things that things like life insurance help you with. Estate taxes, passing down things tax-free. We'll continue. States with estate or inheritance taxes, and here's a map. So, Iowa phased out inheritance taxes in recent years, with full repeal going into effect in January 1, 2025. In Pennsylvania, a bill recently reintroduced could eliminate the state's inheritance tax. States with estate taxes. Estate tax is charged on the total value of a deceased person's estate before it is distributed to their heirs, and is paid by the estate itself. 12 states and the District of Columbia impose estate taxes, which are levied on the deceased estate before distribution to heirs. Connecticut, estate tax exemption aligns with federal level at $13.61 million, with a flat tax rate of 12%. Hawaii, estate tax rates range from 10% to 20%, with an exemption threshold of $5.49 million. Illinois, estates over $4 million are taxed, with rates up to 16%. Maine, estate tax applies to estates exceeding $5.87 million. Maryland, it's a double tax whammy for those in the free state. In addition to the inheritance tax, Maryland imposes an estate tax on estates over $5 million, with rates up to 16%. Massachusetts, estate tax applies to estates over $1 million, with rates up to 16%. Minnesota, Estates exceeding $3 million are subject to estate tax, with rates up to 16%. New York, estate tax applies to estates over $6.94 million, with rates ranging from 3.06 to 16%. New York also enforces a cliff tax, where estates exceeding the exemption by more than 5% are taxed on the entire value, not just the excess. Oregon, estate tax applies to estates over $1 million, with rates up to 16%. Rhode Island, estates over $1.7 million are taxed, with rates up to 16%. Vermont, estate tax applies to estates over $2.75 million, with rates up to 16%. Washington, estate tax applies to estates over $2.193 million, with rates ranging from 10 to 20%. The District of Columbia, estate tax applies to estates over $4 million, with rates up to 16%. So that's it for the article today, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. With that being said, wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. Remember, folks, when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute.